Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up breaking news. Reporting from the Israel-Iran war, the Tel Aviv LGBTQ community say they have been abandoned by American LGBTQ. We believe Queer News Tonight anchor Al Ferguson is the only LGBTQ reporter in Tel Aviv. He has been reporting live. Early Monday morning, he personally witnessed a ballistic missile attack on central Tel Aviv, just blocks from his hotel. At first daylight, he went to the square where buildings and countless businesses and windows were destroyed or severely damaged. That same morning, he visited the LGBTQ Center, just a 10-minute walk from the attack location, to tour the first and only city-run LGBTQ center in the world. Program Director Noam Gross toured Ferguson through the many floors that are the heart of the Tel Aviv LGBTQ community. Health and mental care, social gathering points, a 400-seat live production theater, and unfortunately a bomb shelter are part of the center. Gross, a member of the LGBTQ community, expressed his pride in the city of Tel Aviv's relationship with the gay community and the pride of diversity of men, women, and trans members of the LGBTQ community. The center produces Tel Aviv Pride that was canceled just hours after the attack on the Iranian nuclear sites early Friday morning. Al was in Tel Aviv to cover the Pride events. A trans staff member of the center is the producer of Wigstock, a massive Tel Aviv event that celebrates drag queens and trans artists, and last Wednesday's event drew more than 2,000 participants. While Gross expressed pride in what they have accomplished, he also expressed his sadness on how other LGBTQ communities across the world have treated LGBTQ Israelis. He said, quote, "We had so many friends in Berlin, New York, Miami, and across the world, but that seems to be gone now. There is politics and there is the LGBTQ community. We are all brothers and sisters, and we thought you were with us. We are deeply sad to realize that may not have been true," end quote. So sorry, I have goosebumps. One thing was clear about the visit with Gross and the LGBTQ Center. It is very much like the Pride Center of Equality Park in Wilton Manors. It serves the community. But unlike South Florida, Israel is being attacked with ballistic missiles every day. Just hours before this interview, a 32-foot missile hit just blocks away. The LGBTQ Center did not close. Through all of this, Al Ferguson said, quote, "Regardless of the politics of Israel, we can admire their desire to survive. What Israel faces is not unlike the history of LGBTQ+. Historically, a desire to harm and even destroy your existence. So, our roots at the Stonewall riots are so very similar to what I have seen here in Tel Aviv. Their desire to survive, and there is no question, while they are hurt on how the world treats them, they too will survive," end quote.
I think that people for the past year and a half, especially queer people in America, have kind of one-dimensional, two-dimensional view of what's going on here and what we're going through. You know, I, as a person, am very critical of what's happening in Gaza and around the region. I don't think that we're saints in everything that we're doing. I do think that it doesn't really matter what I have to say, but I think that what we found as queer people in Israel so hurtful is that, you know, our friends and colleagues in New York and Berlin and across the world, people that we used to work with, we used to call friends, people that we really felt are brothers and sisters overseas. Just, you know, after October 7th happened, there was like maybe a grace of like a week before they completely turned their back against us. And in this situation, no one can really hear that for the past 2.5 years or so, not all, but many LGBTQ communities are fighting for the same values that we share with queer people across the world, which is freedom and democracy and freedom of speech, and our demand for a peaceful, human-loving government. And you know, it just seemed that in an instant, all of it doesn't matter. And I want to say to people around the world, who've been saying for years already, especially now, that we're not our government. We're people trying to live our life freely, aspiring for a democratic country that is equal to all civilians, that aspire to peace with their neighbors. And we are willing and open for dialogue. And, just a few days ago, when it was still relatively peaceful, we had a delegation of people organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, people coming from all across the world, just to hear us out. And it was so refreshing and so new to have people actually trying to listen to your story, not in order to make them, on our side, but just to talk. And I think empathy it's not much worth when it's limited, or for certain people, if you look like this and you speak that, so you deserve empathy, and if not, so you're a colonizer and you should be wiped off the map. We might agree, we might disagree, but eventually, whether people like it or not, Israel is and will be a part of the Western world. Our inventions and the things that people do here in all industries, high tech, you will use these products in the end of the day, and we will keep on being out there. And we really just want to reopen our connections with people, because we feel that we've lost so many friends and allies overseas while dealing with extreme, kind of hateful at times government over here, and we're in between, feeling kind of lonely.
Caught.
What?
You're caught.
We're caught in between, yeah. And we're caught in between, and we just want to take active part not only in our society but in the global conversation when it comes to what is being LGBT, what is being queer. And people might be surprised about what Israel gives for Palestinian LGBTQ refugees that have to escape their house and they come here to Tel Aviv. And we have here a worker that speaks Arabic and offers her services also for people from Palestinian territories, the Palestinian Authority, because this is the soul of this place, and no government will change this.
It may not surprise you that the LGBTQ community in South Florida and all over America is going through somewhat different, but a similar situation with our government and marginalization of LGBT in America. So we have much in common, much more in common than I think we all realize. I'm curious. One last question.
Yeah, sure.
For LGBT, for you as one of the leaders of this center, LGBT center in Tel Aviv, are you hopeful for better days? Do you think about it's going to be better?
The anthem of the State of Israel is called the Tikva, which is translated to the hope. We've been through too much stuff as a country and as a people to give up hope. Sometimes it seems unrealistic, and sometimes it seems, that everything is lost. You can see it to this day with glasses shattered on the streets like it's Kristallnacht. But this is home. And our ancestors have been through too much for us to give up this quickly. So we hold tight and hope for the better.
Hope for the better. It's pronounced Noam?
Noam.
Noam.
It's like Noah from the Ark with an M in the end.
Okay.
Noam
Gross from the LGBT Center, the only LGBT city municipality center in the world. You should be very proud of that.
First one?
The first one.
The first one,
but
but...
then there'll be asterisks of other people, but you should be very proud.
This is the first one.
Thank you very much for talking to the LGBTQ community.
Thank you, Al.
Tough to watch program director Noam Gross recite those words to ours, Al Ferguson's. I want to open the table up a little bit, but I do want to say something that's going to make a few people uncomfortable, and it's my job to do that. As Israel is facing these attacks and feeling abandoned by the LGBTQ community, this is not new. Okay, the anti-Semitism, racism, hate, it all lives within the LGBTQ community. And it's horrible that it comes from our own family, but it has been alive and well for a while now. So do better, but I did have to just get that out there. I'd like to open the table now. So,
well, you know, I work for Jewish Community Services, a Jewish organization, and I have had the opportunity to visit Israel on 2 occasions during Pride. And they have a vibrant LGBT community in Israel. It saddens me to hear that they're not feeling the support from U.S. counterparts. I can tell them that on behalf of JCS and A Wider Bridge, who that's an organization I'm on the board of. That's an LGBT organization bridging Israel with the United States. You know, we are with you. I've had the opportunity to visit many of the organizations in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and even some further out in the more rural areas. And the community is vibrant. With their new administration and Netanyahu, the LGBT community is facing some of the same things that our LGBT community is facing. And it's sad. And when there are missiles flying and bombs exploding and people dying, I don't care where in the world you are, it's horrific. Any loss of life.
That's right.
Is, you know, it's horrible. And for people, regardless, whether it's in Israel or whether it's in Gaza or whether it's in Iran, you know, innocent people are, you know, getting killed and severely injured. And that is something that I am very sad for all of them. That being said, Israel has a right to defend itself, and I know there are a lot of people out there who I'm probably going to get some Facebook messages. You know,
it's the nature of this beast at this point right now.
Yeah. I mean, even the A Wider Bridge, who I mentioned earlier, we started a whole program called Queers Against Anti-Semitism, because the level of anti-Semitism in the LGBT community is crazy high.
It runs wild.
And, you know, the LGBT Center in Israel is government supported. If you were to go into Iran or you were to go into Gaza, they would no sooner chop your head off if they found out that you were a member of the community. So as LGBT people, we can mourn the loss of life, of all life, regardless of where they are. But we need to be supportive of our LGBT counterparts in Israel and anywhere else. And yeah, I think it's a real shame that they canceled Tel Aviv Pride. It was probably the biggest Pride I personally have ever attended. Wow. And it was amazing. But obviously, you can't have a pride parade in the middle of a war.
No, cancellation was heartbreaking.
You know, I'm curious as to, because I mean, it's disheartening to hear this, obviously, but, you know, when they say the LGBT community of like Miami and New York has turned their back on them, I'm like, what have they done to turn their back? Was it they didn't provide? I mean, it goes
people say silence is
right.
just as big of a enemy as, you know, when you don't speak up, you're on the opposite side of what's right. So
right.
You know, it could be something like that. That's what I would assume. Right. You know, at first glance, and or it could be something more physical. It
Right.
could be physical support.
Right.
You know, I'm not.
I would venture a guess that obviously Jewish Community Services, we absolutely put out a statement,
Right.
but LGBT organizations in the States probably, well, they're not.
Yeah. Not
And
probably,
they're
right.
probably not making statements intentionally because of the fact that the LGBT community is so divided, and organizations are not, you know, they're not willing to offend some of their
That's right.
their constituencies. So I mean that, in my opinion, that I think is what they're referring to.
Hopefully, like, I know many of us, like, I've had an awakening where I feel like I need to speak out more, and who cares if I offend anybody? And Eric mentioned that too. So hopefully,
You've got a
now, more than
platform,
ever,
use it,
we will all-
share,
Exactly.
share,
Right.
share. If it gives you the ick factor, share it even more.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
This is not going to be a story that's ending today or tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated. That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.